Welcome back to This Is a Commander channel, where this is a Commander channel, and today I'm going to be talking about Commander, tough rules, and cool interactions, episode 131. Today's episode is going to take a look at one of the newly spoiled cards from Modern Horizon 3, as it has an ability on it that is likely to cause some confusion with the timing of when people will have to respond to it, or if it is just going to be too late. The card in question is Necrodominance, which is a black legendary enchantment that says a lot, but the ability that we will be focusing on is, at the beginning of your end step, you may pay any amount of life. If you do, draw that many cards. So this is clearly a new attempt at a fixed version of Necropotence, something that WotC have tried a couple of other times in the past to fix, and resulted in either a too fixed of version that didn't really see much play, it was not good, or they made a more busted version that even had to be banned in Legacy and Commander. So what could possibly be confusing about this Necrodominance card? Well, it's a permanent that can let the controller draw a whole lot of cards, and often in games of Commander, people want to either stop another player from drawing a lot of cards or just punish that player for their cards drawn. Some very popular cards used for this are Orcish Bowmasters and Notion Thief. The Bowmasters has a triggered ability that says, when Orcish Bowmasters enters the battlefield, and whenever an opponent draws a card except for the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, Orcish Bowmasters deals 1 damage to any target. Then amass Orcs 1. And then the Notion Thief has a replacement effect that says, if an opponent would draw a card except the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, instead, that player skips that draw and you draw a card. And importantly, both of these creatures have flash, allowing you to cast them anytime you could cast an instant. So here is a scenario. Your opponent controls the Necrodominance, and they are on their turn in their post-combat main phase. And then they say that they are moving to their end step, which triggers their Necrodominance, and they are going to pay 5 life in order to draw 5 cards. To which you say, in response, I'm going to flash out my Notion Thief so that actually I am the one that draws the 5 cards. Well, what just happened isn't how the game works. Yes, in Magic, we do make our payments first as an object is going to the stack, and then priority is passed around to the players, giving them a chance to respond before that object resolves from the stack. But that's not what's happening in this Necrodominance scenario. So let's reread the ability on Necrodominance again very closely. It's a triggered ability that says, at the beginning of your end step, you may pay any amount of life. If you do, draw that many cards. So we can see that the payment of life here is just a part of the ability resolving. That number of life paid by the controller isn't decided upon until the ability resolves from the stack. Because of this, you, as the player playing the Bowmasters or the Notion Thief, have to be very prompt. You have to be very careful with how you flash them out. Once the Necrodominance's triggered ability triggers at the start of their end step, if you plan to flash either of those creatures out, you need to make sure to do so before that player states the number of life that they plan to pay, and therefore the number of cards that they would draw. You got to catch them quick and say, with the trigger from Necrodominance on the stack, before you decide on the life, I'm going to flash out this creature. This is a bit of a bummer for you. Obviously, you want them to pick a really big number so that your Bowmasters or Notion Thief have the highest possible payout, and you want to catch them off guard. And if your opponent knows that you will have out one of these 2 creatures, then they're likely to pay a smaller amount and therefore draw a smaller number of cards. Probably none in the case of Notion Thief, but that's just sadly how it will work. In a game, if this were to happen, there are rules that we have in the MTR, the Magic Tournament rules, that tell us how to handle situations like this, but luckily, We're in a casual game of Commander, and we can easily resolve this in a friendly manner. Rule 0. You can still cast your creature, and the Necrodominance player can now pick their value of life paid and cards drawn now that they know that there is a Necrodominance out, and so it will probably be a different number than the 5 that they originally said. They're not still locked into that, even though that's the number they said earlier. So if you're in a pod in which you or another player casts a Necrodominance, then you might just want to make a quick mention of this interaction. While the Necrodominance is being played, just say to the table, hey, just so everyone knows, in case you plan to respond to the Necrodominance trigger, you'll have to do so before the number of life is stated. And that's it. And that can lead to a lot less feel-bad moments in that game. Anyhow, that's all I've got for today's episode. As always, I hope that all of you have found this video to be entertaining at least, and I hope that a few of you have even learned something about the crazy rules in this great game of Magic. Have a good one. Ta-ta. And also, a little cool benefit of this, let me pull it up, back up. Yeah, the Necrodominance, it does have that replacement effect of, if a card or token would be put into your graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. There's a few other cards in Magic that have said that, where it says if a card or token would be put into a graveyard. And there's, obviously, you guys, if you've followed any of these videos or have been playing Magic for a while, if you know the rules, tokens do hit the graveyard. It's then just that they cease to exist afterwards. But it's really nice to see that on a new card, not like a reprint like Rest in Peace or something like that. But it's a new card that states that, and this is a powerful card. It's a Necropotence in a sense, so it'll more than likely see play. So it's really nice that a hopefully popular card like this that's going to see a lot of popular play has that wording, so that, fingers crossed, this will lead to less confusion in the future where there's a lot of players that don't think tokens actually hit the graveyard. So yeah, really cool thing. All right, well, that's all I got for now. Y'all have a good one. Ta-ta.